What is up, guys? Jake Paul takes on Anthony Joshua this weekend. Now, that's just an absolutely crazy thing to say. Imagine telling somebody in 2021, yeah, Jake Paul is going to take on Anthony Joshua. Absolutely insane that we even have this fight. Now, he was supposed to fight Tank Davis, which was still just absolutely crazy, but he was going to have a massive size advantage in that fight. Here, he's going up against what should be certain death. But I will say that even though, he's a bit of a troll, he's definitely a showman, I love what Jake Paul is doing. I've watched most of his fights. He had a great win over Mike Tyson. I won't say a great win, but a lot of people thought that Mike Tyson was going to beat Jake Paul at like 80 years of age. The casual fan thought that. Now, of course, I picked Jake Paul to win that fight easily by knockout. He ended up going the distance with old Mike Tyson. But, I like him going to the ring in the car and talking his shit and just being a showman. At the end of the day, that's what he is, and he does a great job with it. Now, even though I think that this fight won't be competitive whatsoever, I respect Jake Paul for even getting in there against Anthony Joshua. Now, Joshua, he is coming off of a brutal KO loss versus Daniel Dubois, but, Dubois, one of the best heavyweight boxers in the world, and that's the first time Joshua's lost in a long time, since the Usyk fights, and Usyk is literally the best boxer of all time. So, look, I'm going to pick Anthony Joshua to knock out Jake Paul, but Jake Paul has been making improvements on a fight-to-fight basis, especially since that Tommy Fury fight. Now, there's no point of, breaking down the X's and O's, who's got a better jab upstairs, who's got a better right hook to the body. We know that Anthony Joshua is the better fighter in every single aspect of combat. He's better. He's stronger, faster, bigger, much better boxing fundamentals. It's just the fact of life, Just like Usyk said. Jake Paul, showman, entertaining, but I think he said he was a Fiat. And then Anthony Joshua is a Rolls Royce, Olympic champion, world champion at heavyweight. It's not really comparable.
Answer. Anthony Joshua is Olympic champion. First. Jack Paul, it's sportsman, YouTuber, showman. Rolls Royce, Fiat. Listen, it's true.
And I think that Jake Paul, he's probably just going to try to make it the distance. I don't really see him being overly aggressive like he was in the Chavez fight. Now, that was a lackluster fight, similarly to the Mike Tyson one. But I think that Jake Paul's only goal in this fight is just going to be to survive. But I don't think that's going to happen. Look, Francis Ngannou probably is a worse boxer than Jake Paul, which I know is crazy to say, but Francis Ngannou's always been super sloppy with his technique. Jake Paul's actually crispy. Like, he has good hands, he has good fundamentals, and like I said, he's continuing to get better. He's only 28 years of age. He's still got years and years of doing this left. But, I'm a little bit concerned for him going forward after this fight because, let's just be real, if Anthony Joshua wants to go in there and knock him out stiff in the first round, like he did Francis Ngannou, just stiffening him with a right hand down the pipe, I think he's fully capable of doing that. I know it's 10-ounce gloves, but, still, Anthony Joshua should knock out Jake Paul. Now, we're going to have to see if he's a little bit weary, a little bit tentative, because he did get KO'd in his last fight. But like I said, that was against Daniel Dubois, who's an actual boxer. Jake Paul, fighting retired UFC fighters and scrubs off the street, and, old heads that are, coming out of rehab or using a wheelchair like Mike Tyson. It's been super easy fights for Jake Paul. People have continuously picked against him, no matter who he's fought, just because, they don't believe in him. They don't think a YouTuber can fight. But let's just be real. Ever since 2020, the last 5-6 years, Jake Paul has been continuously working to become a better boxer. And when you're very athletic like he is, and you have plenty of money and time to invest in it, you can improve and you can get really good, which he has. But that doesn't matter, because I think that Anthony Joshua, he knows that if he even goes to a decision with Jake Paul, regardless of what Jake Paul and his promotion and the management, around this fight wants, they probably want it to go to a decision so that Jake Paul can say, oh, he took a heavyweight champ all 8 rounds, still in their prime pretty much. Anthony Joshua, only 36 years of age, just turned 36. He will be able to say that he lasted 8 rounds with Joshua. But I don't think Joshua, on a personal level, wants to let that happen. I think he wants to go in there and knock him out, just like he did Francis Ngannou. Now, that will definitely hurt Jake's stock moving forward. But, like I said, he's a businessman and he's a showman. And at times, you got to give the people what they want to see. And even if that's you losing, like, he didn't even have to take this fight. I think he would have had a decent chance to at least take it to a decision with Gervonta Davis. But it's going to be a tall task for him to be able to survive Anthony Joshua. Joshua, he's only ever lost a fluke to Ruiz, 2 times against the GOAT in Usyk. And then he lost last time out versus Dubois. But Dubois hits like a truck. He's a real heavyweight. He's boxed his whole life. It's not, a Jake Paul, who's essentially a joke compared to Anthony Joshua. I think Usyk said a Rolls Royce versus a Fiat, like I said. But I do like a bet for this fight that I'm having a little bit of buyer's remorse for. Anthony Joshua to win and over 1.5 knockdowns, even money. Now, I think that kind of covers you if Anthony Joshua, starts fast, gets some knockdowns, but then kind of carries Jake to a decision. As long as he gets the 2 knockdowns, you're good. And if Anthony Joshua does go in there and he tries to close the show instantly, I think the ref is going to try to carry Jake a little bit. I don't think Joshua's just going to knock him out stiff with 1 punch. I think it'll be, body shots in the first round. Jake gets tired. He takes a knee. That's a knockdown. And then second, third round, Joshua lands the big right hand, in a similar fashion to the Ngannou fight where he knocked him down twice. So I think that Anthony Joshua wins this fight. He gets more than 1.5 knockdowns. I won't be surprised if it's a decision. I do see him, scoring some body shot knockdowns or at least a clean right hand. Jake Paul, even in the Chavez fight, he was getting clipped at times. If it's not like a geriatric old man punching bag Mike Tyson in front of him, he's going to have some issues. I mean, we saw him lose to Tommy Fury, and Tommy Fury is basically, he's not really even a professional boxer. I don't even know if Tommy Fury has fought since then. But, that's going to be my pick. I like this fight. I love that it's a spectacle. And Jake Paul does such a good job at just putting on a show. I really respect him. And I kind of wish he wasn't even fighting Anthony Joshua. Like, I want him to keep fighting retired old dudes so you can keep betting on Jake Paul and winning easily. Jake Paul's made me a good amount of money. I bet him for a humongous biggest bet of my life against Mike Tyson. Obviously, he was going to win that fight. And then I did parlay him with Ilia Topuria when he fought Cesar Chavez Jr. So Jake Paul, he's done nothing but right by me. And, like I said, I like the style. I like the showmanship. I like the businessman mentality. But, there goes a siren outside. Even though he's got determination, he's got grit, he's a very good athlete, that's not going to save him against somebody who's been doing it at the highest level their entire lives. So, yeah, give me Anthony Joshua to win this fight. Like I said, I think he covers 1.5 knockdowns and wins. That's my bet on this fight, even money. But, yeah, give me Anthony Joshua. I'm looking forward to this fight for sure. We got Anderson Silva, Tyron Woodley on here. So, that'll be something to watch as well. 2 old heads going at it. And, yeah. Enjoy the fight this weekend. Have a great rest of your day. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe. That means a lot to me. And thank you for watching.